And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Flying weather for Sunday morning, showing some IFR in close to the central and eastern Arctic coast. And IFR here from the Chukchi Sea right along the northwest coast through the Bering Strait, down the eastern Bering Sea here to the Aleutians, north side of the Alaska Peninsula. Marginal VFR covering all of Bristol Bay with just some IFR just southwest of King Salmon there. And then areas of IFR over the western Aleutians, good VFR, north slope down into the Kenai Peninsula area, Kodiak Island. Marginal VFR, Yakutat on down the southeast coast with some VFR over the inside channels. And for the afternoon, that area of VFR becomes a little more widespread, especially over the southern areas. Marginal VFR right along the eastern North Gulf Coast, good VFR. Interior again, from Kodiak Island northward across the north slope out toward the Arctic coast. A more narrow band of IFR now over the eastern Bering Sea here, and some pretty good improvement out to the west. Just IFR there for Atka Island, otherwise marginal. And then for the Monday morning time frame, we're looking at IFR pushing back in toward the central and eastern Arctic coast possibly. And again, Chukchi Sea, northern Bering Sea extending southeastward there to the Alaska Peninsula, eastern Aleutians, IFR, and the central western Aleutians, mostly IFR as well. And Kodiak Island northward to the North Slope, VFR, marginal VFR creeping into Prince William Sound, and possibly southern Resurrection Bay, IFR in over the southeast coast. For the afternoon, that area IFR kind of retreats back to the west here over the Gulf of Alaska, leaving marginal VFR behind from Dixon Entrance right on up and then westward from Yakutat into Prince William Sound, southern Kenai Peninsula to the Barren Islands, and right along the east side of Kodiak Island. No change in the interior, VFR all the way up to the Arctic coast, and IFR mostly over the northern and western Bering Sea and the central and western Aleutians. Marginal VFR for the eastern Aleutians. And moving on to passes up to the Brooks Range, Anaktuvik, VFR, same forecast for Adigan. Another VFR day coming up for the western Alaska Range as well. Lake Clark and Merrill, VFR, and rainy VFR, windy VFR. Isabel, same forecast, wide open for Mentasta. Tanita, VFR, Portage, VFR, and for Chilkoot and White, occasionally marginal. Freezing levels here at about 8,000 feet over all of interior Alaska, closer to 6,000 feet in the Arctic coast, but 8,000 feet into the Gulf of Alaska. A little cooler over the southern southeast coast there with freezing levels about 6,000 feet, and not much different out here to the west. And for icing, the only area of any possibly significant icing would be out here over the central Bering Sea, extending down to the Adak area. Some moisture kind of breaks off from the system today that's just to the south there. It'll take off to the east, but a chunk of moisture breaks off and shifts northward there. But other than that, there's no significant icing forecast anywhere else around the state. And from there, going to the jet stream. Main jet here south of the Panhandle, actually south of the Queen's Charlotte's there, going in toward Vancouver Island. But out to the west, we've got 100-knot west-northwesterlies now coming across the west-central Aleutians. Pretty light across eastern Bering Sea and mainland Alaska. 9,000 feet, light winds everywhere here. Maybe 40 knots over the Russian Far East, and that's about it. Pretty light and variable across Northwest Territories and Alaska. 3,000 feet, about the same thing. Light winds. A couple of weak lows, one right over south central Alaska, another one here off in the Yukon. High pressure Northeast Pacific down here, centered just south of the Gulf of Alaska, and high pressure out over the Bering Sea. And from there, turbulence. No significant turbulence expected anywhere around the state on Sunday.